Today we're talking about pivoting left, right, left, right, left, right, knowing when to pivot. So, this topic is very near and dear to my heart because I feel like my whole life I've been pivoting or tacking. When boats sail, they call it tacking. So, and I think this is very important because we may sometimes look at what we do and the direction we're taking, and we may look at it as failure and or quitting. So I like to look at it as pivoting, and that's simply just taking another angle. Einstein once said the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and expecting different results. So let's say you've been working this angle for your business, you've been prospecting, you've been dialing, hitting the phones, and to no avail, you haven't been able to get in touch with anybody to close a deal. It may be time to pivot, right? Because you've been doing the same thing over and over, and you've been doing it repeatedly for an extended period of time. Let's say you've been doing it for 6 months, and you haven't gotten any results. You're just like, dude, I don't know what to do. I don't know what else to do. I don't know what else to do. I don't know what else to do. So you have to pivot at that point. Now, that may be pivoting and going after a different market. That may be pivoting and trying to find another alternative to reach the people that you're trying to get in touch with. Maybe the gatekeepers are keeping you out. Maybe you're trying to reach them, and that's not a channel that's the best way to reach them. Maybe you should go reach them in person and try to get a sit down for coffee or interview them versus trying to hit them up on the phone or send an email. So that's what I mean by pivoting. Now, in terms of, let's look at this from a 10,000 foot view. So in terms of your life and pivoting, and that is something that I think is important to consider too, right? Because maybe you've been on this path of, a certain particular job or a certain particular industry, and that's what you've been doing for the last 5, 10, 15, maybe even 3 years, maybe even a year. And you don't really feel the same energy that you had before, or you don't really feel as excited about the opportunity as you did, when you first got in. And I think it's important to consider the alternatives, right? To consider pivoting into another direction. Maybe it's not necessarily different industry, but maybe it's just another job within that industry, or maybe it's just another opportunity within that industry. Because at the end of the day, you need to be happy with what you're doing. We're going to spend the majority of our lives working, so you might as well be doing something you love. Now, I'll share a story with you about how I had to pivot several years ago. December 2011, we're actually coming up on the 5th year anniversary of me leaving my corporate career. And I was making, for the first time in my life, I was actually making good money. This was a degree that I had gotten in college. So, I felt like I was actually, doing something that I went to school for. And I wasn't really in my career long before I started to have these kind of doubts about, is this the right thing I should be doing? Will this lifestyle, will this career allow me to do the things that were important to me, like traveling, things like being able to come in and work my own hours and, just whatever, over the long haul, if I stayed here, will it be able to allow me to explore the things that I really enjoyed most, things that were more important to me than just making a lot of money? And the answer to that was no. So I had to decide if I was going to stay, right? because what would happen is I would just continually doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. So I quit that job, and it sent me kind of on a journey looking for something that I was passionate about, and I did that for a while. I did that for about 3 years. I went and started an entertainment company, and then I just kind of got to a point where I felt like that wasn't serving me. And then I pivoted again, and then I went into podcasting. And, I did my very first podcast, and that didn't last long. And then I pivoted again. And I just really kept pivoting. And I think that's what life is about. It's about finding that one thing that's your gift that you were so good at, and that no one else can really, I don't want to say one else can do it better than you, but that it comes easily. It flows effortlessly for you, and it's at the cross section of where you're passionate about it, and you can make an income from that. Because at the end of the day, that's going to be, I think, what brings you the most fulfillment. Something that you are, excited about when you wake up every morning. Something that you can solve somebody's problem with, and you can make an income from it, make a living. And third, there's something that you really feel like you're making an impact on the world. Now, that may not necessarily be an easy thing to do. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that that's easy. I find myself consistently and constantly trying to figure out, how it works for me and how it plays out for me. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it's an easy thing. But what I will say, if you open yourself up to the opportunity to continually pivot, I believe that at some point you'll get to that place where it's at the cross section of those three things that we talked about, where it's something that you can wake up every morning, you get excited about. It's something that you can make an income from, and it's something that can make an impact on people's lives.